We are here and welcome. So I'm sorry I'm a little bit tardy. Didn't plan on that. Always have a few things to catch up on as far as technology goes. So if you are joining me live, I would love for you to say hi. Where are you at? What are you working on? So today we are going to be talking about flimsy to finished. Well, actually, we're going to be talking about our 5 ways to prep our quilt tops for finishing our flimsy. Now, if anybody hasn't caught on to as what a flimsy is, it is a finished quilt top. So you know what those are. They are quilt tops that you have worked really hard on getting done. All the borders are on, all the blocks are completed, everything is finished, everything is ready to go. However, you have, for some reason, not finished the quilt tops. That means you've not sandwiched it, you've not quilted it, you haven't bound it, you haven't put the label on it, you are kind of stuck as to what the next step is, or maybe you're not stuck, you know what it is, you just need some inspiration, you need some help, you need some partners, you need something else to help you get done. So that is where the 5 steps to finishing or prepping your quilt tops is, and that is where finishing flimsy to finished comes in as well. So I'm just opening up a few windows so I can make sure I don't miss anybody's comment, but if you are here, welcome. So excited to be here with you. And just a quick note, if you are catching this late or you see the replay, on Thursday, the 8th, I will be doing another presentation. So if you want to watch this live because you've got a question for me, Becky, then please come then as well. So let's get started. I am going to share my screen and let's see if we can get this going. Blah, 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 blah. Hold on just 1 minute. I am trying to get my screen to share because I would like to. Okay, I got to figure this out. I'm not sure where. Before it would let me just change it, and now of course it's not letting me change it. I'm doing what it's telling me to do and it's not letting me do this. So I'm really hoping I don't have to stop and oh, there we go. Nope, that's not it. Remove. I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. I think I may have found it. So if you are here, please welcome. I see one person has said hello. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And I am truly sorry about this. So let's do slideshow presentation. Let's make, there we go. Woo! There we are. Okay, so excited to be here. I apologize for getting this late start, but let's get started, shall we? So, um, all right, you are here for 5 steps to prepping your quilt tops for finishing. This is exciting stuff. This is where we are um, going to explore getting those tops done because we've worked so hard, seriously, so hard at getting those tops done. We have figured out the fabric, we have figured out the pattern, we have sewn everything together, we have taken the time to square up our blocks, put our rows together, our sashing, our borders, and now we have it folded up in a pile somewhere in our sewing room or in the closet. So if you can relate to this, I can totally, but it's time to finish what you start. So welcome to everybody. I am Becky. And I'm so excited you're here. I love quilting and all things that go along with it. And I want everyone to finish what was started and love it enough to be proud and show it off to everyone. So I don't want you to get frustrated with the pile of quilt tops that I just talked about. No energy or excitement to actually finish them. So as this slide says, I'm going to give you 5 steps for prepping your quilt tops to finishing. So you've loved these quilt tops because you got them this far, but it's time to actually finish them. So let's get started. I wanted to share a few thoughts about other quilters, just like you've joined me for the walkabout quilt along. If you don't know what that is, that was just our recent free quilt along that you may have seen kind of going through this Facebook group. So let's see, I want to make sure I've got it all. This one is from Donna. I was on a quilt retreat this week, so she was able to finish up her walkabout quilt. Thank you, Becky, for leading us through this delightful journey. And then we've got Judy. So here's my top, my finished top for the walkabout quilt. So as you can see, a few examples of what your finished flimsies from a few have been sewing along. I love to show them off, and congrats on achieving actually the first step in these 5 steps. So you can do this. You can have flimsies that are finished. You can set those goals of finishing quilts for those birthday or gifts, knowing you are going to finish them. You can have fun, right? Not only sewing again, but also finishing them as well. So finishing can be fun. So these 5 steps are what's next for anyone who is ready to finish. So who is this for? This is for you, right? This is for quilters who are, first of all, fed up with lost or used for another quilt, our backing, our binding, and our batting. So we always use pieces that are kind of written up for one project for another, and then we get because we can't afford because we don't have what we need. This is for you if you are finding your closet filled with unfinished quilt tops. And how about getting stuck on picking a quilting design or binding? So those tops are just sitting there. So which one of these can you relate to? Maybe even more than one or all of them. And that's totally fine. So my goal for you today is I really want you to feel confident in your quilting at each step, from that flimsy to quilting to binding. And I want you to understand that you don't have to sew or figure this out alone. There are other quilters who are just like you, practicing these 5 steps together every day. So this is me. I am Becky Jorgensen, as I'd mentioned, founder of the blog Patchwork Posse and my online quilt group, Patchworkers Plus. and the patchwork planner. So I help other quilters use what they have, plan their quilting journey, finish what they start, and connect with other quilters from around the world. So this is a little bit about me and some of my projects that I have finished. Here are my first quilts. So the one on the left was sewn because I was expecting my first child, which you may relate to this, as this is the beginning of a lot of quilters' journey. I grew up with a creative mother and grandmother. They were not necessarily quilters specific. My mother is now, but not when I was growing up. But I knew how to hand stitch. And at 8, I finished my first embroidery project, which I still have. So this quilt wasn't really a beginner quilt. As you can see, so many pieces, small pieces in that border, but I was able to finish it. So did you catch that? These are the first quilts I have finished. So here are some more recent finishes. I used to be a quilter who finished everything as I sewed along. I was really good at that. I sewed it together and then I finished it. Sewed it together, then I finished it. But recently, I've become a collector of quilt flimsies. So while I've been giving this chat about 5 steps for finishing, I totally need to practice what I preach as well. And during this month of June, we are going to be doing this together. So let's get to it, right? So here are our 5 steps that we are going to be talking about. Step 1, finishing the quilt top. Step 2, press the top and finish the edges. Step 3 is kind of the 3 B's. Gather your batting, your backing, and your binding. Step 4 is decide on your quilting design, sandwich your layers, and actually quilt it. And step 5 is bind and label. So when it's laid out like this, doesn't it look so simple? I'm not sure why I take that long to actually do these things. So which one of these steps trips you up? Which one keeps you from actually finishing your quilts? And I'm here right now, and we'll have this time together. At the end, I do have a minute or two for Q&As. So please let us know in the comments if you have a question about any of these processes or steps. Drop those in the comments. So the first one is finishing the quilt top. Seems simple enough, right? But there are some things that just get us stuck and keeps us stuck with the blocks and the pieces. So inside Patchworkers Plus, which I mentioned before, we have a program called 90 Sews. And that's where we break down your big, long, mega list of the projects that you want to do for the full year. And we help you break that down into 90 days at a time, getting you finishing what you've started. So if you've been sewing along with the walkabout, which recently just barely ended, let's see, then and this is the quilt top from Barbara. So it's like, where's Barbara's quilt top? Here's Barbara's quilt top. So you may be so close to having that quilt top ready to go. During June, we are encouraging and supporting you while you finish. So number 2 is pressing that top and finishing the edges. While I know we all have good intentions while we sew these quilts, sometimes our tops come out just a little bit jumbled, a little bit messy, and a good pressing is definitely needed. So get that iron hot and press away. So flatten out those seams, get those wrinkles out, and let's give ourselves a beautiful canvas to work with during the next couple steps. So you're going to take a look at your edges. if you have pieced a border, so just like this little mini quilt that I've got on the screen, see all those little pieces that are around the outside? You'll want to secure those with a stitch all the way around the quilt. So keep the seam a little small so you can hide it in the binding. So less than 1/4 inch. But securing this quilt edge will help your quilt not stretch because of loose seams while you handle it during sandwiching and the quilting process. So our quilt tops get a lot of hands on and kind of a big workout. So make sure that those edges are secure, as well as that top is really flat and ready for the next step. The next step is our 3Bs. So collecting our batting, our backing, and our binding. So how many times have we had issues with one or all of these things? They go missing, right? We used our binding for one project for as a sashing for another project. Maybe we've even used it for parts of the backing. We have no idea where our batting piece went. Let's not give this as our excuse to finishing. So gather those pieces, and you'll need all three, of course. If you have a binding for the project, go ahead, cut it up, get it ready, put it in a Ziploc baggie and label it so you know exactly what it is going to be used for. So this will help you keep from sneaking those pieces for another project. The fourth step is quilting it yourself, or possibly not, and handing it off to somebody else to quilt it for you. So sandwiching and quilt is the next step if you are going to be quilting this yourself. So you can use fusible, you can use pins, basting stitches. During this step, you'll also be exploring and deciding the quilting design that you are going to use. So this is really helpful to know if you are taking it to a quilter as well. So you still have to gather these three things to present to the quilter, and you still have to kind of have an idea of what you are going to quilt or what you would like to see on the quilt when it's quilted. So this really helps you guide them through the vision that you have. And our last step for prepping our quilt tops for finishing is the binding and labeling. Excuse me. So grab that binding from step 3 and finish those edges. Along with this step, you're going to be adding a label so you don't forget when you finished it, so the date and the name of the quilt, and of course, giving yourself credit for the work that you did by adding your personal name. So those are the 5 steps to prepping your quilt tops for finishing. We've got finishing our quilt top, pressing the top and finishing the edges if needed, gathering our 3Bs, which is our batting, backing, and binding, deciding on our quilting design and actually sandwiching the layers, getting it quilted, and lastly, binding and label. So now what? I mean, you know all these things already, don't you? Right? We know them. You know that to finish those flimsies, you need to take action on those 5 steps. What if I told you you didn't have to do it alone? I love this part. So what if there was a place where you can share your progress with other quilters who will give you a whoop whoop when you finish it, where you can sew together, chat with others, and even maybe find out that they are a closer neighbor to you than you realized. So if it's all right, I would really like to tell you about my online quilt group, Patchworkers Plus. So it is an online quilt group that will get you finishing, introducing you to designers from around the world. So that's pattern designers, book writers or authors, fabric designers, and brand ambassadors. We have so much fun with no extra cost or travel. So everything is inside our Zoom. It's a community where you can explore our pattern library, our photo gallery, and now get access to Flimsy to Finished. So here's a few notes from quilters who begin using the 5 steps and finding that their blocks and their quilts look better, and they are finishing them. So Nancy says, it is so nice to have a group of ladies who dream in quilts like she does, sharing frustrations, looking for suggestions, celebrating success is so much better when someone else is there to share it with. That is so true. Then we've got Fran, who's been able to sew and finish projects for both beginner and experienced quilters, and Joni, who really likes the online meetups because of the encouragement and friendship I have found in the group. I'm getting more done and feeling good about actually finishing my quilts. And then take a look at all these beautiful quilt blocks from our members and a few quilt tops. It is so exciting to see progress together. So this is what's next, is Flimsy to Finished, where we walking you through these 5 steps with videos, extra tips, how-tos, so your quilt top flimsies become a finish. A community where you can find a quilt buddy who will encourage, inspire, meet you virtually on our sew days. Your questions won't get lost in the shuffle of this massive, large Facebook group, if you've noticed, maybe. And there will always be someone there to answer your questions. So we are going to finish together and have some fun along the way. So what included? Our batting chat with Warm Company, basting techniques, machine quilting using your walking foot, setting up your sewing machines, machine quilting using free motion, binding techniques, and labels you can print and use. So we take these 5 steps and show you how to do each one, bringing your quilt top flimsy to a beautiful quilt top or finished quilt. We give you the tracking sheets, a bingo game for prizes, and our sew days. So as a bonus for joining today, you get 45 days of Patchworkers Plus, and this is totally included. So it is our private community of fun and supportive quilters on a journey becoming finishers together. You're also going to get all of our block of the months, all of our patterns in the pattern library, our technique library, our private quilting community, which is really quite priceless. Our guest quilt designer chats, both live. So we've got one coming up next Tuesday, next Tuesday, the 13th with Pamela, and all of our replays. So all of our video chats with previous designer, you have access to all those replays, as well as our 90 Sews program, which helps you really put together a plan of 90 days of sewing. So someone is here to help you finish, and sewing and finishing together, never alone. So I would love for you to join. Right now, the price is $29. That includes the Flimsy to Finished program, as well as Patchworkers Plus, because I want you to get all the support you need to take those walkabout quilt tops and get them finished. So this is what it looks like after you join. A quick welcome video from me. And then when you log in, you will have complete access to and immediate access to everything inside Patchworkers Plus. So you can see here the pattern library, technique library, our guest designers, our replays, And then right at the bottom there, it's kind of cut off, but it's the flimsy to finished. So you have access to that. So let's get those quilt tops finished before this busy summer. It's a great opportunity to think about holiday gifts as well and finishing them up. So it's time to sew and it's time to finish. So imagine this is like, whoa, this is be wonderful. Finishing what you actually have already started, which we have a pile of, right? Feeling inspired and excited to sew. Never missing out on the Black of the Months or member activities because of your schedule. Imagine exploring and chatting with talented designers and tracking your projects and celebrating your progress. Really, this group is about no matter where your location, your schedule, the machine you sew on, experience you had in quilting or not, or how large your stash is, we are ready to meet you and support you. As Carol puts it, she says, joining was the best move I've made in the past couple of years. So that's what I have planned for today is our 5 steps for finishing your quilt tops. And I'm going to hop over and make sure that I don't have any questions. I would love, love, love to see you guys inside our flimsy to finished area. Let me drop a comment in so we can make sure you find this workshop. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to drop it in the comments. Hello, welcome, Lucy. Thank you so much for coming. And Teresa, thank you for this wonderful information. Yes, it's so surprising, isn't it? Because it seems so basic. Don't we know these steps? Don't we know them? We totally do. But do we actually do them? That is really the struggle from taking our knowledge to an actual doing them. For me, that is. And so I have found that when I do this with others, things go so much better. They really do. I have a lot more fun. The quilt or the project doesn't seem so heavy, full of guilt and lots of questions, and I'm not sure what to do. I just don't want to leave you with all of these quilt pops from the Walkabout Quilt Along and really have no idea or just an overwhelm, and you don't want to do this by yourself. So I just want you to have a place where you can finish, where you can actually finish. This is what is exciting. So during the month of June, I just wanted to put a quick note out there. This is what we're doing this month. On Friday, which is the 9th, we have a sew day, which is actually in the evening, a sew evening. This is where you have access to me. You can ask any kind of questions you have. And then our sewing room stays open until midnight or whenever the last person leaves. This is a great opportunity for you to connect with other quilters. This is done virtually. So no matter your location, no matter your schedule, like I had mentioned before in one of those slides, the group is open 24/7. And because it's virtually, there's no travel, there's no packing up your sewing machine, there's no extra additional charges for the group meetups, open sew days, or our guests that we have monthly this year. As mentioned also, next Tuesday in the afternoon, we have a chat with Pamela. So she works with Island Batik and is a brand ambassador for them. She's also a pattern designer. So we get to pick her brain and get to know what her process is, enjoy a trunk show, maybe a small demo. But she gives us the time to ask her anything, which is always a lot of fun. We get to talk to a lot of designers throughout the year, And these are recorded, so you can watch them anytime. So if you have something during that time, no worries. You can pop into the replays area and find it there. We also have two sew days per month. This is the third Tuesday and the third Saturday. These are, again, an opportunity for you to sew together. So bring your binding, bring your labels, bring your handwork, or bring your sewing machine just into your sewing room or on the dining room table, no matter where it's at. But you get to join us in our Zoom where we meet, we chat, we have fun, we have games. We love it. It is a lot of fun. So that is what is planned for this month of June. It is not too late to start. So we're just barely getting into this. When you join, you have immediate access to the Flimsy to Finish class, which includes all the videos as well as access to Patchworkers Plus. So double bonus there. We would love to see you there. We would love to meet you on the 9th in our evening sew. And we would love to help you finish those pile of quilt block or quilt tops that you have sitting there ready for the next step. So I hope that you find this super helpful, even though it's kind of a review, but I hope it inspires you to finish those quilt tops, move them forward no matter in what step they are kind of stuck in, reevaluate them, get them going. But not only that, please join us inside Patchworkers Plus, where you have full access to Flimsy to Finish and the community. So you do not have to sew alone, finish alone, or celebrate alone when you do get those finished. I think that is it. I don't see any other questions at this time. So, Lucy says, I have so many quilts started in different stages. How should I prioritize? Really, this is about quick wins. And so maybe you want to look at size. And so decide on, is there something that you can finish in the next quick little bit, a few days or a week or so, that's not going to overwhelm you. You have a good idea, maybe of what you want to quilt. You already have your backing, you already have your binding, and you already have your batting. And so those three things are set. It's not super large. It's something you can finish on your standard machine, and you can get a quick win. That's what it's all about, is finishing something, feeling good about ourselves, celebrating with us inside Patchworkers Plus. That will allow you to be feel encouraged and inspired and excited actually about sewing again. So then you can go back to your list of unfinished and see what you are inspired to sew next. And maybe that would be a larger project, but you've already had something finished that makes you feel so good. And so you doing something on a larger scale doesn't seem so overwhelming. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you're here for the replay, I thank you for watching that, taking the time. Again, join us. There's a link in the comments, hopefully in the description as well, to pick up the Flimsy to Finished, as well as your bonus of joining us inside Patchworkers Plus. I look forward to meeting you on Friday. That would be a lot of fun. So see you then.